Welcome, everyone, to episode 54 of the Missing Pieces podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening, as this is available everywhere that podcasts are available, my name's Greg, and this is where I sit down and I discuss my life, Lego, and anything else that's on my mind. And before we get into today's episode, I just want to take a moment here and thank everyone that's out there watching this or listening to this right now. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be here with me. That means a lot to me, and I do not take that for granted, and I hope that I can provide you with the best show that I possibly can today, which is a bit of a challenge, to be honest, because I don't think there's ever been a point on a Sunday morning that I've gotten up to do this show that I felt less inspired to make an episode. And I don't know why that was. I guess today I got up and I just felt like nothing happened this week that I could possibly share. I don't know if maybe you felt that in your life at some point. Maybe you felt like it was just another week. Nothing changed. Nothing big happened. Nothing inspiring. Nothing that you can really think of, and especially nothing that you could just share with the world that was, something big, I guess. And maybe that's just on me. I feel like I need to share these epic moments and these inspirational things that I think of here on these episodes to give you some type of value here. But then I started thinking, well, maybe you just want to know what happened in my life. And I started thinking, what did happen to me this week? And I couldn't think of a better thing or a way to find that out than by going and looking at my SD card of all the things that I recorded. Because you guys probably know on my Greg's World vlogging channel, I basically record Monday through Friday of Clark's life and my life going through remote learning kindergarten. Not only the things that he's learning as a kindergartner, for other people that are maybe doing homeschooling, whether they're doing it now or in the future, to inspire them that, this is something that you possibly can do, but also to share the adventures that happen each day and to also show that every day is special and not every day is the same. So this is just something that I'm trying to reinforce to myself and also put out to the world that things aren't always just mundane, and a Monday doesn't just have to be a Monday. So this morning, after I went through and looked at all the viewer feedback, which got me inspired to make an episode regardless. I was like, I can make an episode just off of this. I thought, what happened to me this week? What can I share? And I started looking through that SD card of all the things that we did this week. And I was like, oh yeah, that happened Monday. Oh yeah, we got into that. Oh yeah, this week was special. This was something, and this is worth sharing. So between you guys with your feedback, which I always appreciate, and just documenting my life every day, I feel like I'm prepared to do this. And maybe I want to use this as a moment to tell you, when you think that every day is the same, whether you're a video maker or not, chances are you're probably not. Maybe if anything, just have a little journal, or maybe even just a little notepad, or maybe something on your phone. There's probably an app for that. Just write down that one thing that happened that day. It doesn't have to be like a win of the week. What was the thing that happened to you that day that made that day special? And then you do that over a period of time, and you could go back to the first week of October in 2020 and look and be like, oh yeah, I remember that happening. And it's like a journal can be powerful in a lot of ways. It can teach you things that maybe you've done wrong in the past. It can be memories of things that were good or anywhere in between. And that's why I love making videos and sharing our journey, because I'm 9 years into making my video time capsule, and I'm stoked, and I don't feel like I've ever been in a better place to, I guess, record and document our days and try to create a storyline out of that than I am now. And I'm just so proud of the work that I'm putting out on Greg's World. That being said, on brickitect, I honestly feel like the chapter of my life that I'm in right now, I feel like brickitect has kind of taken a back seat to that. We're still making Lego videos, of course. I'm obviously not going as hard into this as what I've gone to in the past. And that's mainly just a time constraint. It's very hard to film your entire day and then edit up what turns out to be a 20-minute video for my vlogging channel, then find the time to also make a Lego video and edit that. If it wasn't for the editing stuff, things would be so much easier, but I put a lot of care and time into editing my videos, and when you see a 10-minute video or 15-minute video, 20-minute video, sometimes 25-minute videos that you see on Greg's World, that's a few hours of editing for me. That's a day of recording and a few hours of editing. I get up somewhere between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning and I start editing, and I'm usually not done until maybe 8 o'clock in the morning. But I love it. I love doing that. This isn't a job for me. This is my hobby. This is what I love to do. This is my passion in life, to share these things and to make these little movies every day, if you want to call them that. They're not really movies, but it's just it's my life on video and Clark's life. And that to me is the thing that I'm really trying to document, because I know these days aren't going to exist forever, and I'm just going to be so happy to have these memories recorded. On weeks that would have just been forgotten otherwise, these things exist. And not only I have them for myself, but I share them with the world. And I know there's a lot of people out there that get, I don't want to say inspired by it, but just like they really enjoy it and it becomes a part of their day. And that makes me really happy. So this week, why don't I share with you this week? Before we get into that, I should probably tell you I'm using a little bit of a different setup here for recording these podcasts. So this may either sound really much better than it did before. It might sound worse than it did before. It may look better than it did before. It may look worse. Whatever you're seeing right now, for the better or worse, this is totally on me. I'm just trying something out here. I've had this dream for a long time to have a setup where I can literally just come down and I can record a video. I can do a live stream. I can do anything. And I have that now. I got that set up over the last few weeks. I have an external monitor here that's 27 inches. I've got my gaming set up over here. I've got everything that I need to just record. And I've wanted a recording space for a very long time. And I'm very happy to have that. I could consider that my win of the week, but there's other wins of the week, and we'll get to that here in a second. But I want to talk to you about what happened this week in my life. And there's not much Lego here. So if you're here just to talk about the newest Lego set, or my thoughts on that, this isn't the video for you. This is more of my life than anything. And this is going to be my week in my life, which you'll see, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, you'll start seeing these things start happening throughout the next week, because my videos run 1 week behind. So what happened to me last Monday, you'll see this Monday. And I kind of like that as a system. It doesn't put as much pressure on me to have a video out instantly, even though I'm still kind of in that boat. But something really fun happened this week, and this is an idea. I don't know how I got the idea, but I was trying to... it was from Clark's teacher, actually. You know, all the terrible things that I've said about schooling. She gave us this idea through this assignment that we could do something with sidewalk chalk. And being that our driveway is like essentially like sidewalk, I thought, man, we have this huge canvas out here that we can do anything with. And we were at Wegmans, and I was getting Clark a new pencil sharpener, and we saw this sidewalk chalk, and I bought it. And on Monday, it was a beautiful day outside. I think it was Monday. I don't have the dates down, but I know this happened very early in the week. We took this sidewalk chalk outside and we started drawing, and I had so much fun with that. It was one of those things, it's very much like Minecraft, where I was just going to record Clark drawing and stuff and making his things. But just like Minecraft, when you see someone doing it and you have the access to it, you want to be a part of it. So I ended up getting sidewalk chalk out as well, and we did a chalk outline of Clark, and he drew me, and we started drawing the solar system, which we ended up finishing the next day. We drew all the planets and the sun. Clark drew a couple of little things, Minecraft related, of course. And it was just so much fun. I really loved doing that. Just going out with a piece of chalk and just drawing it was so rewarding. And to see Clark's creativity come out and the laughs and stuff that we got out of it. We did an outline of Roxy, and I drew her as a dinosaur. I guess you guys saw some of this on a brickitect video. We came in from doing that and we recorded a video, so you would have seen a little bit of that, but we did more. And there's a video dedicated to it. But I just really had a lot of fun doing that. And that was one of those things today when I got up and I almost didn't make this podcast. After 53 weeks of consecutive recording, minus the weekend that we moved, I'm still bitter about that. I was like, I have nothing to talk about. How about the awesome experience we had there? What else happened this week? Oh, we were talking about editing there for a moment. I'm now getting more intentional with my exercising. You guys inspired me in the comments. I've seen people that are recovering from injuries that are just getting up and walking for the first time. You've told me how this podcast has helped you in that regard. Well, I'm practicing what I preach in some ways. And with these edits, I told you guys it takes a long time to edit these videos. Once I have the edit done and I go back and watch the video, which I don't know if everyone does that makes videos, but I always go back and watch my videos because I want to make sure everything flows well. Because I take what amounts to an entire day and make a 20-minute video out of that. We'll make sure it flows, make sure everything kind of makes sense in the story that we're crafting, and that the edits are on point. So I always watch it back. And what amounts to a 20-minute episode, I'm literally just sitting here watching myself after editing myself, after living that experience. So it's like the third time through. And I said, why don't I start exercising while I do this? So now I'm intentionally setting up my laptop in our exercise room. I get on the elliptical and I ride the elliptical, or whatever you do on elliptical. Ride it, walk on it. It's like a bicycle motion. So I'm going to say ride the elliptical. I do that for the 20 minutes that the video is on for, and that can burn like 200 or 300 calories. So I feel like that's a great win. And like you're already starting your day off, because I do that very early in the morning. You're starting your day off with some exercise. I do some push-ups. I do some sit-ups. And I feel like, and I've told you guys this is my philosophy, time and pressure can change everything. You don't have to do anything amazing in one day. You can do tiny little things, and over time, those crumbs will amount to a lot. So I'm starting that way. And I find myself, even when the video's done, like after that 20 minutes is up, I get my phone out and I'll watch some YouTube while I exercise on there, and I enjoy that. So I'm taking this time that would have been idly spent sitting here. Maybe you're doing it right now. Maybe you're listening to this and you're just sitting there, you're not really doing much, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. This is your relaxation time, and that's perfectly fine. But maybe if you have the opportunity to, even if you can't get outside, take a couple laps around your house, or inside, or go on a walking trail, or if you have a sidewalk out front of your house, go out and walk. And if you don't have a sidewalk, you live out in the country, go for a walk outside. Listen to this while you're walking. Maybe it'll be like, it can be your thing that you do each week. Even if it's just 30 minutes of exercise a week, again, that can make a big difference. And maybe that'll get you started. Not trying to give you advice, though. I told you guys I'm trying to get out of that business. But I'm just sharing what's working for me and what doesn't work for me. And I hope that whatever mistakes or victories that I have, you can learn from those. So that was something this week, right? This next thing isn't great, but it did happen. We noticed Roxy was having some issues with her skin. She's had issues twice now in the past with having almost like really scratchy and itchy skin. So we took her out to the vet, and it turns out she has a staph infection, which is the same thing that she's had a couple other times before. And it's most likely related to an allergy that we are going to have a very difficult time figuring out what that is. So she's now on antibiotics for that, and she had it in her ears too. So they cleaned out her ears, and we gave her antibiotics, and we switched her food, assuming that it's maybe that. And we're not giving her any people food or scraps or anything like that, or even any treats. So anybody that was going to send Roxy treats for mealtime, I know she gets a lot of them. In fact, I don't think I've bought treats in, maybe a year or more, maybe more than that. Hold off for now, because something's happening in Roxy's life, and he said it may not even be food related. Something's happening that's giving her some type of allergy that's causing a staph infection, which, from what I understand, and this, I'm no doctor or veterinarian, but a staph infection is essentially something where you have staph on you all the time. It's like I don't even know what it is, a bacteria or something. But if you scratch at the skin enough, an infection can start, and that can spread. So it's not life-threatening or anything like that. Roxy's going to be fine. The only downside of treating her staph infection, she's getting better, but the downside of it is that the pills she's taking, I think, is making her very thirsty or giving her dry mouth, and she's drinking water endlessly. And just the other day, we left the house for just an hour or two, and we came back and she had peed on the floor, which is something she hasn't even done. I mean, she may have done that a couple times when she's a puppy, but I think it was related to constantly drinking water. So we're trying to let her out constantly and making sure that doesn't happen. But Roxy is getting better. We have another vet appointment here this Tuesday where she's going to go back out. And maybe a couple more after that, I don't know, but they're going to try to figure out what's going on. We may be able to do some tests to figure out what her allergy is too, but I feel like if we get the food thing situated, there's not much else that she could be allergic to, unless it's chickens or cats. Can they be allergic to other animals? Maybe, I don't know. There's nothing in our house. We have wood floors, at least upstairs, so it's not like carpeting or anything like that. I don't know. It's very difficult to figure things out, and it's especially difficult with pets because they can't communicate with you. You don't know what your cat is feeling, your dog is feeling, until you really notice something going on, and it sucks. So another expense in pet ownership, but Roxy is a true part of our family, and I would do whatever I can to make sure she's comfortable and happy. So I'll keep you updated on that if you care to know. But again, that's another thing that happened this week that somehow when I got up today that I was just nothing happened to me this week. I have nothing to share. Proven myself wrong. Next thing, this is kind of a win of the week, I guess, too. I have a couple things that happened. In our basement, our house has geothermal heating, which pulls the heat and cooling from the ground and then pumps that through the house, as opposed to our old house where we had oil heat, where people would come and they would deliver oil and fill up an oil tank and be a very expensive experience, or electric heat, which can also be expensive, or natural gas, which isn't so expensive, but we could have the opportunity for that. We have geothermal heating, which runs, I guess, these pipes down into your ground, whether deep down wells or this grid system. And the water that's inside there is using the Earth's heat or coolness in the summertime to then heat or cool your home. And our upstairs of our house has that all set up, all the vents and stuff work through that. But down here, for some reason, they had electric heat. And that has baffled me since we moved in here. I couldn't figure out why you'd have electric heat, which is very expensive, as opposed to letting the geothermal heat the downstairs and let that all go through. So we had our furnace serviced over the summer, and I mentioned this to the guys, and they're like, oh yeah, totally. We could there's vents that run right along the ceiling up here, and we could put, or I don't know what you call them, I guess ducts that run, and we could put a vent right off that. That's no problem. And I was like, okay, let's do that, and let's get it done before the heating season starts. And we're kind of at that point right now, and I've been texting this guy, like this company, they do really good work, but it's very hard to get them out to actually work on your stuff because they're so busy. So when the guy came out, he told me that the owner, it's like you have to be on him constantly. And I guess the phrase you'd want to use for this is that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I started messaging him like every week, and I almost like little cocky messages even. Like it started out very innocent. I'm like, hey man, when you guys think you come out? And he's like, oh, we're pretty booked up, but we'll get you. You know, don't worry, we'll ping you. He uses this word, we'll ping you, which I don't know many people that use that, but nonetheless, he said he would ping me. And weeks are going by. The leaves are starting to change. It's starting to get a little chilly outside. I started messaging him. I'm like, hey man, let's. What day can you come out this week? Let's get this done before you guys get swamped. And he's like, oh, we're already swamped, but you know, we'll get you. We'll ping you. And this next week, I said, I think it was a similar message to that. I was just like, when are you coming? Or it was like Wednesday, and he's like, we can come out today. And I was like, yes. I was like, okay, just let me know when you can make it out. Give me a call. Literally within an hour, a guy just shows up here. Same guy as before. Totally awesome dude. And he puts 2 vents into the ceiling down here. So now we have the geothermal heat that's just busting air down here. And it's awesome because I don't have to turn on electric heat. It's not going to really cost me anything extra to heat this entire space, which I think is about 500 square feet. It's awesome. So I think it's probably going to save me. I don't know what he's going to charge me for it. They always charge after the fact. And even that, like, he didn't charge me for our servicing for like a month or 2 after they came out. So they're not very good at running a business, in my opinion. Like, I was literally going to go somewhere else for when they came to service our furnace. But being it's geothermal, I wanted a geothermal company to come and know what they're doing. I'm probably going to save $100 a month throughout the heating season just this year alone. So there's like $400 or $500 I'm going to save. And then you do that next year, and the next year, and the next year. Like, this could be one of the greatest investments, following up on last week's episode, that I've made. And summertime, though, I'm going to have to close the vents off because he told me if I had the air conditioning running in the basement, which usually maintains like 67, 68 degrees all year, or except for in the wintertime, it goes cooler than that. He told me it'd be like a meat locker down here. So I'm going to close those off. But it'll be nice because I can kind of control what I want down here. And nice and toasty for making Lego videos for you guys and making Missing Pieces episodes. And even right now, I'm down here in shorts and a t-shirt. And there's no heat on technically down here with electric. So great investment on my part. And I'm just happy to have that done, especially before the freaking snow's flying outside. So that's done. No other real concerns here. At the house, everything else has been good thus far. What else happened this week? There's a company that reached out to me in, I want to say August, on Instagram nonetheless. It's a Chinese company, and they're like, hey, we saw your RC videos. Would you like us to send you an RC car to review? And I was like, totally, that'd be cool. I didn't really put much stock in it. And I told them like what color I want, and I just kind of forgot about it. But it turns out this week it showed up at our post office box, and I brought it home and we opened it. We're going to make a video kind of showing this thing off and saying whether it was good, bad, or ugly, or all the above. And it turns out that we charged it up. We could get the steering to work, but we couldn't make it go forward and back. So that video went from being like a cool video about this RC race car to being you get what you pay for sometimes, and don't buy Chinese junk. And I don't know how the company's going to feel about that, but I really don't care. Because there's an issue. I sent them a message about like it not working and any ideas how to fix it or what's the deal, and they didn't reply to me. They're probably going to offer to send me another one as like replacement. I'm just going to say nah. It took like 6 weeks to get here, and I'm not that concerned about it. But I contrasted that experience with their car that they sent me with our current drift car that we have, and that thing's just demolished it in every way. So that was an experience. So we've had some good things happen this week, some bad things happen this week. But there was one other thing that happened this week before I share my win of the week. Clark Man and I went to Target on Friday. I'm thinking about instituting this thing where every Friday after we complete school, which we get done very early, as soon as I'm done editing, we go right into the school zone. Once he's done with school, I think Fridays we're going to go on a shopping trip as like a celebration for another week completed between the both of us, and also as like a little reward for Clark Man. Some of you guys might think that he's spoiled, and that's fine. You can think that. It's just fun for us to get out of the house and go shopping and look around, and we take you guys along with us in videos. I know people love our shopping trips, and we go out and buy a toy or whatever. And I bought a video game this week. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I bought Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. We talked about nostalgia last week, and this is certainly that for me. We're going to talk about more nostalgia. But Clarky ended up getting a Transformer, and he bought his Halloween costume for this year, or one of them. Clark, He loves Halloween. He loves dressing up in costumes. He talks about what he's going to be for Halloween literally all year, and it changes throughout the year depending on his interests. And we were at Target. We ended up in the Halloween section, of course, and we're just looking, and he saw an Optimus Prime costume that he really loved. And I was like, well, it's only October, 3rd, 2nd, I guess, the day we went. And it felt a little early, but I thought, these things are probably going to go pretty quickly, and they do have his size in stock. So we ended up buying it. I think it was $30. And it was such a great investment. Little dude has literally had that thing on this entire weekend. In fact, he has it on right now. He had it on yesterday. He had it on Friday. He surprised Cody with it when she came home, who's Mrs. Brickitect, for those of you who don't know. It's a fantastic investment. Like, he's so pumped. But I don't know if that's going to be what he's going to be for Halloween. I don't feel like you just need to dress up one day out of the year. You can dress up whenever you want. And if you're 5 years old and you love dressing up as a Transformer or whatever, totally fine. I'm going to give him a couple costumes. He's just so pumped on it. He was thinking about being Mario, though. In particular, we saw this outfit it was one of those inflatable ones where it's Yoshi at the bottom and your legs go down through Yoshi's legs. And then your arms are Mario's arms, but Mario's legs are off to the side of Yoshi. So you're walking around looking like you're riding Yoshi. And Mrs. Brickitect was going to be Princess Peach. Like, we were all going to dress up. And I was thinking about being Bowser, although Clark wants me to be Luigi. So I'd be Luigi, he'd be Mario, Princess Peach. I wanted Clark to be Toad, but he didn't want to be Toad, of course. He wants to be Mario. So we might do a family thing where we all dress up as Nintendo characters, which I know would probably be the highlight of many of your Octobers, especially considering all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. I think it could be kind of fun. I'm hoping Halloween isn't canceled. I feel like everyone has masks on. This could be like the perfect holiday for 2020. But yeah, we're going to do that. We saw a Steve costume as well that Clarky could really enjoy. We'll see. He wanted to be a Megazord, which you can get a Megazord costume that's inflatable as well. I wanted to be the guy that's getting abducted by an alien, and I wish I could bring the images up for you, but it's essentially like the Yoshi one I was saying, where your legs are the alien's legs, and then your upper body is the top half of a guy that's getting abducted, and he has like little legs, and then the alien's arms are wrapping around you. So it looks like this giant alien's behind you, and he's carrying you around as you walk around, and I think that could be a hoot. So we'll see what happens for Halloween. I'm going to try to make it like the most special thing that I can for Clarkman, and hopefully we can have a good time with it this year. But that's pretty much everything that happened this week, and somehow I was able to fill 20 minutes of this episode with that in a week that I thought really nothing happened. It's kind of wild, guys. And I think about this not only in my life, but yours. Like, maybe there's somebody out there that felt like I did this week, and you're just like, it was just a week. It's not just a week. Maybe that's the title of this episode. It wasn't just a week. It's not just a week. But I want to tell you my win of the week while we're on the topic of weeks, and that was playing Among Us with my patrons. I've been hearing about this game. I'm sure everyone has, just about. And I was thinking, like, I obviously want to play this. Some of my friends in the LEGO community, they're not overly thrilled about this game or interested in it. But I've been looking for a game. We talked about this weeks ago on my Friday Night Patrons Only stream. I was trying to figure out a game that we could all play together. And I was thinking, like, maybe we could play Call of Duty. Maybe we play Fortnite, I don't know, something like that where we could talk and communicate, but that only limits it to 4 people. When I found out Among Us, you could play with 10 people, and the fact that you don't have to have a console, it's free to play, there's really no reason that wouldn't be the perfect game for us. So on Friday night, we tried it out a little bit, and we had fun with it for a game or two until Mrs. Brickitect came down and told me I had been streaming too long, and I got booted, and happy wife, happy life, in the words of one of our patrons. I ended that stream, but Saturday night we did it again, and it was actually pretty fun. So that was a really cool experience with the patrons, and I consider that to be my win of the week. Getting to play games with my patrons, getting to talk to these guys, it was kind of cool. But while we're on the topic of patrons, I do have 2 new patrons to welcome, and that is Josh. Josh, welcome. I butchered it, and Gang Bricks. Thank you guys for joining us on Patreon. If anybody else wants to join us, we do Friday night patrons only streams there every single Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we do Lunch and Lego every Tuesday at around like 11 or 12, where Clark and I eat lunch, and then we play a Lego set, or maybe just eat lunch. It all depends on what our schedule is. That one's a little tough for us to do these days, but it's a good time, and there's a whole slew of streams that are uploaded there that you can go back through the library and watch as well. And it's pretty cool. So I'm excited about that group of people over there, and it's a lot of great peeps and a cool community. So thank you guys for joining us there. September, in all honesty, September was really tough on Patreon. It was a bit of a bloodbath. It seemed like almost every day, like the last week of the month, I was losing a patron like every day. And there's like exit surveys that they do, and it helps the creator to know, like, well, maybe I wasn't providing enough value. Maybe they didn't like how I was doing this. Maybe this was an issue. But they were all for financial reasons. It's like my financial situation has changed, and that got me really thinking about the economy and what's going on. Like some of these people have been with me for a year or two, and to see them leave because of a financial thing, and it could be anything. I always tell these guys, I'm like, if anything happens in your life and you need to cut something, this is the thing that you cut, and I have no issues with that. But to see like 5, 6, 7 people all leave within a short period of time for that reason, I'm like, maybe the economy isn't doing so hot. I don't know. This is an unprecedented year though, but I do appreciate everyone else that's been on there, and I'm going to stop talking about it because it's going to seem as though I'm trying to sell it. I'm just sharing my story. Let's go on to viewer feedback next. I've got a lot of viewer feedback here on some topics that we talked about last week, and this is something that I really enjoy doing. We're going to start with the Dave story. If you didn't watch last week's episode, I recommend watching that one or listening to that one because these all kind of tie together. So you kind of have to be in as a part of a series, you have to be into it. This was for the Dave story. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my chicken who escaped the fence again and is walking out in front of my window. Very upsetting. Let's talk about the Dave story from last week. If you guys didn't know the Dave story, it's basically a story of this little kid trying to fraud me, saying that he was Dave, who was a good friend of mine, because he saw a video where I talked about how Dave sent me a set, and I was going to send Dave a set of his choice. Should I start this stream over again, or this call over again, or this podcast over again? Yeah, probably should. This kid, I'm assuming a kid, tried saying that he was Dave and that I should send him Lord Business's layer as compensation for the thing that he sent me. And I said, okay, send me your address, and he did. And that's where I ended it. I was going to prank him or send him like some weapon or do something funny, but I didn't do anything. I just shared his story here just as a bit of ridiculousness from last week. And you guys had a lot to say about that, starting with SW Productions, who says, that whole situation with the kid and stuff scares me. That kid sounds way too young to be navigating the internet. I thought about that too. I thought, geez, this kid just gave out his address. Can you imagine if his parents knew that he gave out their home address to some complete stranger on the internet? And he's actually not too far from me either. I could drive there. I won't. I could. The Cowboy Lego guy says that scammer kid must not have paid attention to the video or any of the streams with Dave on it. I would say that kid is too young to have an email, and his parents must really be bad parents. You should send a picture of the set to the kid in the mail and a letter to his parents. I don't think his parents are bad parents. I don't think oftentimes parents know what their kids are doing or the power that their kids have. They might think that they're just on YouTube Kids and having a good time on there. Kids know a lot more than what parents think that they know. So I don't think it's the parents' issue. Should they know that their kid's doing this? Probably. You gotta be more careful with what your kids are doing. But with so many kids doing remote learning like Clark and having Chromebooks and access to the internet and all this stuff, it's a little scary, dude. Especially like 5 years old. Like this kid could have been 5. I doubt it. I think he was older than that, but God knows. Next one comes from Nitron Neutron. I like that name. He says that the kid is really young and named Dave. He could have been naive and just realized or just believed that he was Dave that you spoke about. Or maybe it's me that's the naive one. I just don't want to believe that young kid as a Nigerian prince scammer. And I thought that was a funny comment. If you guys don't know what the Nigerian prince joke is, it's where you get like a letter that's like, if you send us $1,000, Nigerian prince, who is also your uncle, will send you $1 million. You just have to send us the money first, and you have to Western Union it. It's like this huge scam type deal. And yeah, I don't think that he thought he was the Dave that sent us the package by any means. I think he was just trying to pull one over, but was terrible at paying attention to all of the cues from the video, especially the parts where I said Dave was my friend. I know his family. I know his son. It's just a nightmare. This next one comes from Just Build It, who says, send that kid the Leppin version of Lord Business's set. That would be a funny video. The next one comes from Prison Mike, who says, the kid is an imposter. Vote him out. Among Us reference. Among Us taken over. Next one is from Before the Brick Films, who says, if you have the kid's address, you should send a package with some of the internet child safety leaflets that Lego has been releasing and write a letter to the kid's parents to raise awareness about their family safety and the safe internet usage while explaining the situation, or try to get help from the police to get the house owner's email address and contact the parents directly. This is an issue, and the parents should be way more careful about giving their child proper internet safety education. I'm glad this happened with you and not a bad-hearted stranger on the internet. Who says I'm not a bad-hearted stranger on the internet? But I agree. I don't think it requires calling the police, but dude, this kind of stuff's probably happening elsewhere too, with probably kids in like chat rooms where you think that, you're little Johnny at 8 years old and you're chatting with Billy, who's also 8, and then you give him information. And it turns out that Billy is a 40-year-old child predator. I mean, I'm sure it's happening. Dave, the real Dave of Scott's Toys, says, on behalf of Ivan von Lego, I approve this message. I like that. He should have pretended he was the real Dave in the comments. That'd be funny. This next one here, this is a great one. This is from Ben C. He says, Greg, I'm actually really glad that kid messaged you over someone else on the internet. I'm not happy that he attempted to scam you. I'm happy it was because oh wait, sorry. This is where I should clarify that viewer feedback or listener feedback is where I try to read your well-written statements and comments in a very poor way. So if I mess anything up, I apologize in advance. I'm doing the best that I can here. In fact, I probably had the font a little too big. I'm like, the struggle is real. I'm sorry. It says, I'm happy it was you because there's a lot worse out there who would have been much more malicious or had much more malicious intentions with having this kind of communication with a child. You've given your opinion on some hot topics here. So coming off this interaction, how do you feel about kids like Clark having so much digital access nowadays from such a young age? Do you think it benefits them because the IT skills are essential life skills nowadays? Or do you think there are ages where certain digital access should be allowed? How do you discuss or explain more serious issues like online safety to a 5-year-old? Thank you for investing your time in producing another top-notch episode. Dude, I have a real issue with kids having digital access at pretty much any age. I don't know what it's like to have a kid that's 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 or 15. I'm going to find out one of these days. But I watched this documentary this week that's available on Netflix if you guys want to watch it, and it could benefit you. It's called The Social Dilemma. And it's a documentary, and it kind of has like a little movie theme going on into it too with like some actors. But it's a lot of these founders of all of the social media companies coming through and saying just how dangerous these social media platforms are and how addicting they can be and how these algorithms are set up to basically destroy you because you can't compete with the AI and the computers that know exactly what you want to see more than you do, and the temptation is there. And I could see young kids getting trapped into that, kids that have phones on their own, which is probably the scariest thing. Like, it's one thing if you have a computer that's in a community space in your home and you allow your son, whatever age, or daughter, whatever age, to sit down and be there for a bit, as long as you're kind of monitoring what they're doing. But these kids that have phones, they could be doing anything, sending their address to some crazy internet guy that makes Lego videos. They could be getting onto pornographic websites. Like, it could be like literally anything, unless you have some type of block, which I imagine they exist. I haven't looked into that. I don't know, to answer your question, Ben, I don't know what age is appropriate to have a kid have access to digital stuff. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what 8-year-olds are like. I don't know what a 10-year-old's like. I don't know what that age is. I think it probably depends on the kid. All I can say is I don't feel like Clark is that age yet. In fact, like the only thing he can do is watch YouTube Kids on our TV in our living room. And even that I'm hesitant to do because most of what he likes to watch is Minecraft videos, which are, it's fun for entertainment. He can learn from them, I guess, in terms of Minecraft. But what is he actually learning? Is he learning any life skills? No. Is he learning lessons? No. I'd much rather have him watch like PBS Kids. I'd rather have him watch even just regular cartoons because oftentimes those cartoons have some type of message to them, especially the younger kid ones. Transformers, he likes a lot. I have no problems with him watching that for entertainment, but I like him to get something out of his entertainment. And I don't know if it's there, but my thoughts are very basic on this. At 5 years old, you definitely shouldn't have access to any kind of digital life at all outside of what your parents are doing with you. I'd have to assess that as they get older. Maybe some parents out there, if you're watching or listening to this and you have a 8-year-old or 10-year-old or 12-year-old or 15-year-old, what is that age that you felt like they could do that responsibly? Whatever age Dave is, I don't feel like that is it. And that was pretty apparent. And he probably shouldn't have access to the internet or email the way that he does. But it's a scary thing. That to me, though, isn't as scary as what I saw in Social Dilemma. Give that a watch if you get a chance. And if you guys want to have a discussion on that further, I would love to do that in next week's episode because it's scary. And it seemed to be Facebook to be the scariest of the bunch. Is kind of where I saw it going, where they can kind of change your perspective on the world and everything just based on the timeline that you see there. Even YouTube a little bit, I suppose. The algorithms, they show you videos with the whole intention of keeping you on their platform as long as possible. And YouTube's pretty good at that. I've gone down rabbit holes. I told you guys about the beehives that they somehow knew that I wanted to watch, and then watched several videos of people raising bees for honey and taking care of hives and stuff. It's a scary thing. So yeah, just know that your reptilian brain that hasn't evolved for the last millions of years, you don't stand a chance against artificial intelligence, the Terminators that are out there. So just be careful. Just be cautious of it. No advice given for me, though. Do whatever you want. Be happy. Next topic is on nostalgia. I think we're talking about how there's these things in our life that can sometimes take us back to when we're younger. And even as a younger kid, you can probably have memories like that. Let's go with Bricking Outside the Box. Fantastic name once again. Says, the nostalgia bug for me is building Lego with my older brother. I have 3 brothers, but for a while I was just my older brother and I. He always got Lego sets, and I would build random junk with our stray Lego pieces. That's what I used to do as a kid, too. He's the reason I got into Lego in the first place, but he moved away and I stopped collecting Lego for a while. Now each time I build a set, especially a Star Wars set, I remember how we used to build and create our own worlds, as well as us watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Avatar: The Last Airbender and Clone Wars. I also think my generation will be the last to remember going to the movie and video game rental places. I remember going there often. My brother would rent a Halo game and he would spend the day playing it. Thinking about it makes me miss those moments. As for brickitect not giving advice, I think you should say what you want to say about it, whether it's advice or no advice. Thanks for another great missing pieces. Oh, man. Oh, those memories. I'm sure some of you listening to this probably feel those ways, like especially when you have a family member involved, whether it be your brother, and maybe you guys are growing up now, or maybe he moved out, or you guys don't get a chance to talk. But when you see those things or think about those things, you feel like you can go right back into that space where you would spend hours and the things felt like minutes doing it together. These nostalgia things give me nostalgia. My gosh. Next one is from Padawan Bricks, who says, something nostalgic to me is McDonald's Happy Meal toys. I know it's kind of weird, but I love them when I was little. I don't think that's weird at all. Going to Happy Meals, going to McDonald's, I think is a great experience for a lot of kids. And I tried giving Clark that, even though Mrs. Brickitect isn't totally on board with me feeding him the type of food that you get from McDonald's. I feel like every kid needs that experience of going out and go with their parent or parents and going to a place and getting a Happy Meal, having the food, having that experience, getting the toy. It's all fantastic. I even remember, some of you guys that are really old like me, I remember getting Lego Happy Meal toys, which were awesome. And they don't do that anymore, I guess, probably because of the choking hazards and such. But, getting like a little Lego poly bag at McDonald's, it doesn't get any better than that. But I remember a lot of the McDonald's toys, and just seeing them like at flea markets and stuff takes me back to that. Thank you for the comment, though, Padawan. Next one comes from John's Bricks. It says that there's one thing that makes me nostalgic. It's Disney Plus. Every time I go on there, I always rekindle old memories, whether it be old movies that I haven't seen in years or finally being able to finish Clone Wars and other Disney shows. I hope Nickelodeon makes a streaming service so I can watch TMNT and SpongeBob in their entirety again. Really takes me back. And the last one here comes from Rubber Bands with a Z. It says, hello, Mr. Greg. Something that brings me nostalgia is my Nintendo DS. I remember playing Mario Party and Mario Kart with my cousins and playing New Super Mario Brothers on long car rides. I still can remember most of the themes from those games and all the fun I had. My win of the week was when I recently started to revisit some of my DS games like Super Mario 64 DS and Pokemon Diamond, and I had lots of fun reliving my childhood. That's what Lego is for me. That's what this channel is. Thinking about Lego from my childhood and experiencing that again as an adult, and then sharing that with Clark, who's simultaneously making his memories. It just builds on top of each other. And I loved your guys' nostalgic moments. It's so good. Next, in the last part of this episode here, we got some wins of the week as I take a drink break here. You can leave a like on the video while I'm having a drink. I don't know why I threw that out there. That's cheesy. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't matter to me whether you like the video or not. I don't use that as a way to make myself feel better or feel worse. I'd much rather you just enjoy the episode. Whether you leave a comment or not, that's the thing I'd much rather see is feedback. Whether you like the video or dislike the video, that's fine. That's just the YouTube algorithms. And this podcast isn't designed to reach millions of people out there. This is essentially just for our community of people that like to sit down for a little bit every weekend and just talk about stuff. So let's keep it real, guys. I'm not going to make any jokes about leaving likes again, I think. Unless it comes up and it's a funny thing. Clark likes to do it, so that'd be the only reason. Let's go to some wins of the week on a side note. First one comes from Jedi Master Anakin Skywalker, repeat offender here, always giving some feedback. He says, my one of the week was just uploading my first big video on a channel of mine, and my Twitter friend were so hyped, and we still are. It's slowly becoming my biggest video after only being up for a few days. Oh, dude, I love that rush, especially when you have a small channel and you see that uptick start happening. Oh, it's like a drug. So hopefully that motivates you to continue going, and your current big video can just lead to your next big video. I think that's awesome, dude. Next one. Win of the week comes from Cool Lego Picks. It says, hey, Greg, my win of the week is finally meeting a friend I have met in this community. When we met up, we ended up discovering a Lego set in the wild at my Legoland Discovery Center. The set in question is 77907 Toad's Special Hideaway set, which was supposed to be a Comic-Con exclusive, but is sold normal due to Chima. In addition to just about every Instagram account that covers news, our pictures... In addition to just about every Instagram account that covers news, take our pictures and crediting us, even Ash and Flash and Just Too Good using our pictures. Dude, how about that? Hopefully you're getting proper recognition and hopefully your stuff's blowing up. That's sweet. Sorry for the misreading of that. I apologize again. I'm going to have a disclosure at the beginning of all of my viewer feedback or listener feedback going forward that says all of these are very well-written comments, but I'm going to butcher them, and for that I apologize in advance. The next one comes from Allied Films. He says, "Hey Greg, my win of the week is I opened up my own Joy-Con repair business. I replaced joysticks for the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con and already have 2 people who need my help with it. I'm so proud of myself." That's cool, dude. I'm proud of you too. This next one comes from ZG Brick Films. He says, "Great podcast, Greg. My win of the week is that I started going to the gym with some friends who are helping me get in better physical shape. And although it's been a lot of work, I've been investing a lot of time into it and feeling better about myself." Yes. Next one comes from Locked Door. It says, "Hey Greg, thanks for investing your time in another episode of Missing Pieces." There was a comment of the week which was investing, and it was fun seeing all the people that made it to the very end. Very cool. It says, "I need to hop on the Patreon stream sometime. Play Among Us. I had a few wins of this week. I aced a math midterm, which is a real positive result, which I needed this week. My second win was finishing another week of school. After what this week had in store for me, that alone was an accomplishment in of itself. Online school is all fun and games until you're buried into your ears in assignments and tests. December cannot come soon enough. I also scored a few Lego deals this week, which was a set I idolized from my childhood, 8019 if you're wondering. In response to your thought on skiing, don't be scared. Go out there, ski with your means and within your means, and you'll have nothing to worry about. Thank you for an hour of thoughtful entertainment every week, along with other content you create. Wishing the best for you and your family this week. Cheers." Well, thank you for that, sir. I appreciate that. I hope to see you on the Patrons live stream this Friday or Lunch and Lego. Next one comes from Nicophorus Dallas. He says, "My win of the week was taking down last year's Winter Village set. I want to sit down with my parents and brother in a time around Christmas and rebuild it while listening to some amazing Christmas music." Talk about nostalgia. You're about to create some of that. I kind of want to do this with Clark, where we rebuilt the same Christmas set every single year, but Lego just keeps coming out with really good ones, and we're kind of rebuilding new ones. But I do want that experience where every year we sit down and we build a Christmas set. And we've done that thus far. I think I've gotten every single Christmas set that's come out since we started collecting. This year, I don't know if I'm going to get the Elf Clubhouse or not. To me, it's very similar to Santa's Workshop, and I really love that set. So I think I might be more inclined to possibly build that one. But we'll see. The year is young. It's only October. We haven't even hit Halloween yet. I'll probably be tempted into buying it, but I think that would be really fun for us to sit down with and listen to Christmas music, eating some Mrs. Brickitect chocolate chip cookies. I need that in my life. Let's go to the next one here from Mateo Hans. He says, "I wish you luck in learning about investing, even though I would stay away from it for the rest of the year because of the high chances the stock market will crash." There's going to be some turbulence here up until the election's over and then January hits. So I agree with you there. I'm not taking many risks, but I'm getting involved in the game, and I might have something more to share with you after this week. So maybe next week's episode, I'll tell you the move that I made and let you know if I won, lost, or if the stock market crashed. His victory of the week, though, if we're still doing that, of course we're doing that. I like hearing your guys' wins of the week. Says, "I finally got the AAT set after searching daily for it for 51 days. Dude, I would love to see a video where someone's like, day 43, searching for the AAT set. No hope. Hope is lost." Says, "I was so happy that I hugged the box when I got home. Beautiful set. To the kids and grown-ups that are struggling with weight or want to be healthier, I suggest downloading Step Counter and just walking either outside or inside while listening to the podcast." Dude, me and Mateo, we're on the same wavelength there. Next one comes from Michael. He says, "Hey Greg, love the podcast. It gets me charged up for the week. I also wanted to offer you my win of the week. Saturday, I got to help a friend of mine move. She's a single mother of a special needs son. The sense of satisfaction that I feel from helping someone out and asking nothing in return just makes my day. I want to also challenge you to keep giving your advice. I love what you say, and it comes from a heart of kindness and a humble spirit. Although this is a Lego YouTube channel, I think that the message to me is that Lego is the medium by which you narrate the story of living a positive life and being happy with what you're blessed with." I'm going to get emotional. To me, this is not about the latest and greatest Lego set to review or a series of unboxing videos. It's about taking the time to share the experience with your son. It's the idea of sitting down for a few minutes and building a polybag or a small set. In short, stopping to smell the flowers. Thank you for sharing your journey with the rest of us. Dude, that's exactly what it is. In fact, I remember a comment that I got very early on from Papa Bear from Addison Versus, a good friend of mine from way back in the day. And he was the first person that really said, this isn't a Lego channel. Your channel isn't a Lego channel. It's a family vlog channel that uses Lego as the means of delivery. And I agree with that. Like the Lego gives me something to focus on. It's always been about my journey and then Clark's journey when he joined on, and rekindling my childhood love of Lego, and then sharing that with him just for me took this whole hobby to the next level. I don't know where I would be if Clark wasn't involved with this, because so much of my collecting kind of revolves around him. Would I even still be doing this? I don't know. But I love sharing that experience, and it isn't about having sets day one unless I'm super passionate about it. It's about like just having that time with him, documenting it, and then trying to make something funny or creative or just something to share with the world that you guys get enjoyment out of. And I feel like I've been very successful in that. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about the money. None of that matters to me. I would do this regardless, and I did this regardless. For me, it's just about having it, and it's about documenting. And I love going back and watching our old videos. Do I care that that video is us opening a Lego Batman set? No, I don't care about that at all. I want to see what Clark was like at the time. I want to see what funny things happened. What were the things that were said that were jokes at the time? Was it mini fingers? Was it the everyday? I love having that. And I'm glad that you guys enjoy it too. So thank you for that. I do have one more ending story here. And I thought this was the perfect thing to go out on here. I want to thank everyone, of course, for your wins of the week. Thank you for sharing those. I think everyone can have a win of the week, regardless if it's something big or small. It can be just a matter of surviving, I survived a week. That's my win. But I want to share this story with you from Jim Rolfe, who is a big supporter of the channel here. And I think this story could not only, maybe if you're a kid, I don't know if this will really impact you greatly, but if you're an adult, this certainly will. But I think there's a message here for everybody, and this is a longer one, so bear with me here, and I'm going to do my best to read this, Jim. It's really well written, and if there's any mistakes in this is on me. But here we go. This says, I have a somewhat longer post pertaining to the win of the week and topics of the last 2 weeks. I started my college career wanting to be an electrician. My dad said electrical engineer. No bricks are, still no trains in my engineering school either. So I said okay. Well, that was not a great decision, but after a couple of major changes, I found a field that I was interested in and finished engineering school in industrial and manufacturing engineering. I started in manufacturing, but was quickly promoted and moved into IT developing software for the manufacturing teams and managed a group of young developers. I've spent 22 years in various IT roles until my company announced last year they would close our campus. I was offered a role in another job location, but cannot move my family, so I was forced to give up my job. I took several temporary assignments as they were provided and learned a great deal in areas I had no experience in, including cloud systems, data science, crop science, AI, chatbot, and finally, human resources. I was applying inside and outside my company with little luck. This is a tough time for folks, and employment is scarce or very competitive. So the stress was building and the date of my layoff was looming. In quite literally the final hour, I was hired for a job that I interviewed for internally. It is back in manufacturing and engineering, and I'm thankful for the chance. So that is the win. I am again employed and for now can thankfully still feed my family. I learned a great deal in the last 18 months about companies and loyalty and family and planning for the future. I also about thinking you are choosing a path. Sometimes the path chooses you. My advice, don't ever feel like you have to set your path. Be flexible, be agile, learn everything you can. Opportunities will arise. Set a goal and work toward it. Trust me, I lost faith in there at times, but perseverance and knowing what I was doing, all I could do to be successful was sometimes just enough to keep me moving forward. So now I have a job, a bricklink store, and have made some headway in setting investment goals for the future. Looking forward to your investment discussions in the next missing pieces. That was from Jim. Jim, thank you for sharing that. I did my best not to get emotional in that. I love the stories of people. I love people that really work hard towards what they want and stick with it. And I love your advice there at the end. This is why I don't give advice anymore. I know some of you guys are like, Greg, give your advice. No, I don't have that experience that Jim has. I can't tell you all the things that Jim has gone through, but Jim has been through it and he tells you guys what you need to do. Opportunities will arise. Set a goal and work toward it. Perseverance and knowing is all I can do to be successful. Just keep moving forward. I love all of that. And that's what I encourage you to do. This isn't my advice. This is Jim's advice. I'm delivering it through Jim. Continue forward this week. Make this the best week of your life. Even if bad things happen, look at Jim. He was at the very edge of not being able to feed his family and worrying about a job in a time that is like just terrible for a lot of people, as we've talked about. And somehow things worked out. You have to have faith that things will work out. The world will provide for you. I've had that happen to me so many times in my life. Like even with this YouTube thing, I did this for years and years before it actually hit, and it hit at the most perfect of times when we no longer had a babysitter for Clark, man. And at the time, that was just perfect to be able to spend these years with him. And I feel so lucky for that. But luck isn't everything. Sometimes you just have to be there and you have to keep putting yourself out there. And that sounds like what Jim did as well. He did a lot of work to get to where he's getting. And I encourage you to do the same. If you have any goal out there, one foot in front of the other, whether it's literally a foot or whether it's just putting that thing out there that you want to do and working towards it, you can do it. I believe in you. There's Advice Attack for the week. I can't resist, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Missing Pieces. If you want to support this podcast, there's a number of ways you can do it. You can leave me a comment for next week that I would love to share on here, whatever topics you want, because for all I know, I might not have anything to share next week, and your comments allow me something to kind of vibe off of, and I really appreciate that. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you want to do that, if that's where you're listening to it at. It's pretty easy to do. You can like the video if you want to. I'm not overly concerned about that. If you're going to do anything, leave me a comment. And you can support us on Patreon. That's what makes these videos possible and ad-free, or interruption-free, I should say. Thank you guys all for being here with me again, and I wish you the best in this coming week. And I hope, as always, I hope to find you in the next Missing Pieces.